All right, so you ready to go deep?
Always.
Today we're diving into the CMAs, the 2024 awards.
Okay.
We've got a stack of articles here, been scrolling through that social media frenzy, and let's just say things got interesting.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, and for me, it's always about finding those little things, those details that maybe got overlooked that actually tell us what's going on in country music. Like, where's it all headed?
Well, this year, I got to say, what really stood out was this kind of clash between, I don't know, like the old school and whatever's coming next. And nowhere is that more obvious than with, well, the Entertainer of the Year award.
Oh, yeah, we got to talk about Morgan Wallen. Wins the biggest award and doesn't even bother to show up. What's that all about?
It's definitely a choice. I mean, look, Wallen's had a wild few years. Back
Yeah.
in 21, that whole racial slur incident, got suspended by his label, apologized, of course.
But his career's never been bigger, right?
Exactly. And that's what makes this win so interesting, even without him being there. It shows you the power of his fans, how sometimes that connection between an artist and the music, it's complicated.
And it really does make you think, like, where's the line? Can we separate the art from, well, everything else?
Big questions.
Yeah, and on top of that, you've got Jeff Bridges accepting the award on his behalf. I mean, how surreal was that?
Talk about unexpected.
Yeah.
And it completely shifts the whole story, doesn't it? It's like, but speaking of defying expectations, Chris Stapleton's Wings this year, they paint a very different picture of what's happening in country music.
The man's a machine. Male vocalist, Song of the Year, Single of the Year for White Horse. Is there anything he can't do?
It's not just winning, it's the fact that he keeps doing it. And in a world where, let's be honest, country music is becoming more and more pop influenced, Stapleton's up there racking up awards by sticking to his guns.
Yeah.
That traditional soulful sound. It's kind of like a statement, isn't it?
It says something for sure. And White Horse, oh man, that song will get. If you haven't heard it, seriously, go check it out. But it wasn't all about the guys this year. I mean, Laney Wilson, she absolutely killed it.
No kidding.
2 wins, female vocalist and music video of the year. Plus, she co-hosted the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, and she was fantastic. Laney's someone to watch, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What I find really interesting about her is that she kind of represents this blend of, like, those classic country values, hard work, authenticity, all that, but with this modern edge,
Yeah, like she's bridging the gap between different generations of fans.
Exactly. And as a co-host, she brought this energy to the stage.
You're right.
Really lit it up.
Couldn't agree more. And her style, that sparkly jumpsuit, come on, she brought the glam. But speaking of powerful women in music, there was another name on everyone's lips before the awards, and that's Beyonce.
Oh, yeah, Beyonce. Everyone was wondering what would happen with her.
Right. She dips her toes into country with Texas Hold'em, but no nominations.
Was it a snub? Or is it just like country music protecting its turf?
It definitely started a conversation. And I think at the heart of it, it's about how we define country music. Is it the sound, the themes? Is it about where you come from? I mean, Beyonce wading into country music really forces us to think about that.
And makes you wonder if, I don't know, if the CMA voters are ready to fully embrace someone from outside that traditional world.
Maybe that's a question for another deep dive. Yeah, it's a question worth asking, for sure. Are we talking about fitting a certain mold, or is there space for, I don't know, for someone like Beyonce to kind of shake things up? I guess we'll see. But while some folks are pushing those boundaries, there are others who are, well, holding on to tradition.
You're talking about Cody Johnson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Album of the Year for Leather. Yeah, that's the one. And Johnson's win, it really says something about how much people still love that classic country sound. It's not going anywhere. And then you've got Brooks and Dunn, I mean, legends, taking home Best Vocal Duo. Shows you that experience, that legacy they've built, it still means something to people.
Absolutely. Speaking of legacy, how about that tribute to George Strait, the king, right there on stage? And when he started talking about his manager, Irv Woolsey, man, I got a little choked up.
Yeah, me too. Here's a powerful moment. Reminded us that, behind every big star, there's a whole team of people you never see working their tails off. And hey, while we're talking about fresh faces, Megan Moroney winning Best New Artist. That's exciting, seeing someone new break through like that.
She's got a bright future, that's for sure. After all the big wins and emotional moments, the thing that really surprised me, I gotta say, was Simone Biles presenting an award. Olympic gymnast at the CMAs. Didn't see that coming.
You never know what's going to happen at these things, is what keeps it interesting.
It does. Okay, so we've talked about the winners, the snubs, the tears, the laughs. But what's the takeaway? What does it all mean for country music? What do you think?
I think For me, the big thing is country music's at a crossroads. You can feel this tension between wanting to honor its history, but also, moving forward, evolving.
It's everywhere, right? In the music, the artists, even the fashion.
Yeah, everywhere. I mean, Wallen's win, that brings up the whole question of, can you separate the art from the artist? Can you enjoy the music knowing what you know about their life?
Not an easy question to answer.
Definitely not. And then you've got folks like Stapleton and Wilson who are finding success by just being themselves, whether that's more traditional or a little bit, outside the box. It's a really interesting time to be a fan, that's for sure.
And speaking of breaking the mold, Laney Wilson co-hosting, that was a big deal. She was amazing, and I think it says a lot about women in country music, who gets to be front and center.
I agree. It's a positive step. Seeing more representation, more inclusivity.
Yeah. And her style, let's be real, she killed it all night. It's like she's bringing this new energy to the red carpet, something we haven't seen before.
It definitely resonates with fans,
Hmm.
especially younger ones who are looking for something different, something that challenges the status quo.
It all comes back to that idea of country music evolving, right?
Yeah.
Part of that is having these tough conversations, like we were saying before about Beyonce. Some people see her coming into country as like this cool blending of genres. Others, they worry it's losing its soul.
It's a valid concern, and it speaks to how deeply people care about country music, its history, its traditions. But change is going to happen. It always does. Music's always been a mirror of what's going on in the world.
It's like trying to stop a river. You can't do it. You just got to find a way to ride the current. And sometimes those currents take you places you never expected, right? I mean, who would have thought we'd be talking about Morgan Wallen and Beyonce in the same breath when it comes to country music?
It's wild, isn't it? Makes you realize just how blurry those lines are getting. And it raises some big questions, like what is country music even going to sound like 10 years from now? Will we even recognize it?
It's kind of exciting though, right? Not knowing exactly where it's all going, but just being along for the ride. I mean, we're seeing these changes happen right now. And honestly, some of it is, well, kind of messy.
Change is messy. It never
Yeah.
happens in a nice, neat little package. And that's what makes this whole deep dive so interesting. We're not just looking back at one award show. We're trying to figure out, like, what's driving the future of country music?
It's bigger than just the music, isn't it? It's the culture, the values, the whole conversation around it. Like, can you be a fan of someone even if you don't agree with what they do or say? How do you deal with that?
Big questions, and there aren't any easy answers. At the end of the day, it comes down to each person. You gotta make your own choices, decide what you're comfortable with.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into the 2024 CMAs, I want to say, don't just take our word for it. Go listen to the music we talked about, check out the artists, make up your own mind.
That's the best part, right? Exploring, discovering, forming your own opinions.
Exactly. Because ultimately, it's the fans who really shape the future of any genre. Your choices, your voices, they make a difference.
They really do.
So keep listening, keep asking those tough questions, and most importantly, keep talking about it. That's what makes this whole thing so rewarding. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.